The recent spat between Chris Rock and Will Smith at the Oscars has brought alopecia into sharp focus. And that's after comedian Chris Rock joked about the actor's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, who suffers from the condition. This led to Will Smith slapping Rock live on stage. But let's shift gears and bring you more on the condition itself and its effects. We're joined now by Dermatologist Dr Lev Naidoo via our video link. Dr. Naidoo, it's great to have you with us on the program. And of course, I don't have to remind you of the incident that caused global outrage, depending on which side of the fence you sat on. But as a dermatologist, when you saw that and you heard the joke, what were you thinking?
Good morning. Thanks for having me, and thanks for bringing alopecia to the forefront or onto the spotlight. I think it's a subject matter that does require a great deal of awareness in terms of public attention, but also a great deal of sensitivity, because for those people that it affects, it's really something that affects someone's self-confidence, their self-image, so has so many ripple effects, both personally, professionally, in terms of their social life. So for me as a dermatologist, it really hit a sore note when I heard a condition like alopecia, like hair loss, being made fun of, really, because for those that it affects, it is far from a joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I hope we could use this opportunity maybe to touch a little bit on this to increase the public's awareness of this condition.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. I mean, we don't know Jada Pinkett Smith's personal experience of how alopecia came into her life, but typically, how does this start to affect you?
Well, alopecia is an umbrella term we use as dermatologists to describe a huge presentation of hair loss. And hair loss can affect us in so many different ways. I'm not quite certain what the diagnosis is for Ms. Jada Pinkett Smith. However, if we were to touch briefly on just different types of hair loss we have, most common, I think, we'd be familiar with is a patterned hair loss. And I think most people appreciate hair loss in a patterned presentation affecting males. However, there's a large presentation or large portion of females that are affected by a patterned hair loss. So for a male, for instance, we'd see that hair loss or a decreased density in the crown area, along the temple area. But I think many people are unaware that a patterned hair loss can also affect a female, and usually here would present as a widening of the parting of the hair. Another condition that can affect is something called telogen effluvium. And telogen effluvium is a reactive process. And here what we see is either what the body has gone through or what the mind has been subjected to, so either psychological or physical stressor, resulting in a reactive pattern of diffuse hair loss, so hair loss throughout the scalp.
Yeah.
And things that could trigger this is something as simple as a physical stressor, so a flu, even a COVID presentation could trigger this. Emotional trauma, emotional stressors could trigger this. Sometimes conditions that take a bit more of the body's reserve, for example, a pregnancy in a female, or while a female is breastfeeding, for instance, this could affect. There's hormonal conditions, for example, if there's thyroid change, that could play a huge part in your hair presentation. Other medical presentations, for example, an anemia could result in hair loss. And then we have this the group of conditions we class autoimmune. And under that can fall a bracket or a condition called alopecia areata. And alopecia areata is an autoimmune condition. And in this condition, we're not quite sure why the body starts attacking its healthy hair follicles. But how this presents then is we start to get just these patchy areas of hair loss, and usually that's on the scalp. Sometimes, however, that could be eyebrows, eyelashes, in males, beard area, and occasionally even other areas of the body.
Dr. Naidoo, in your experience, is this a condition that impacts women sort of worse than men? Is the emotional impact of learning that you suffer from alopecia, is it worse for women than for men?
I'll say from my own personal point of view, I have a strong family history of alopecia or hair loss, and affecting both the males and females in my family. And whilst I think that as females, we voice our concern about our hair loss a little bit more so, or we're more comfortable to share in some instances, I do find that with my male patients, it's an equally sensitive topic because hair forms such a large part of our body, our self-image, how we present ourselves to the world. So I think both from a male and a female perspective, hair loss is an incredibly sensitive condition to be faced with.
Yeah, certainly. Dr. Naidoo, let me thank you for your time. It's been great getting your perspective as a dermatologist on the reasons why people suffer from alopecia and, of course, the mental toll it takes on them as well. Dr. Lev Naidoo is a dermatologist.